Mikel Arteta provided a worrying update on the injuries of Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice following Arsenal's draw with Chelsea, raising doubts for the upcoming games. Meanwhile, Micah Richards highlighted an essential transfer that Arsenal needs to make in January to strengthen the squad. Additionally, Wright expressed his great concern about the performance of a £50 million player, raising questions about the athlete's impact on the team. Stay with me until the end of the video to check out the latest Arsenal news straight from the Emirates Stadium. But before that, if you're as passionate about Arsenal as we are, don't waste any time and subscribe to our channel right now to stay updated on everything happening with the greatest team in the Premier League. And without further ado, let's dive into today's top news. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta provided crucial updates on Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice after his team's draw with Chelsea on Sunday evening. As Arsenal edges closer to a full return from injury, they were boosted by the comeback of their captain, Martin Odegaard, for the London derby. Odegaard made a notable impact in the second half. His precise chip over Chelsea's defense set up Gabriel Martinelli, who fired the ball in at the near post. Arsenal initially took the lead, but it was short-lived as Pedro Neto found plenty of room to equalize with a strike from the edge of the box. The game intensified as both teams sought a decisive goal, but ultimately had to settle for a draw, which saw them both lose ground in the title race. Concerns emerged during the match as both Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice were forced off the pitch, raising fears of potential injuries. Arsenal is looking at a 2-week break before their next match against a strong Nottingham Forest team in late November. The team is hopeful that Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice will be fit for the game, although there are some concerns about their injuries sustained in the recent clash with Chelsea. Saka had to leave the field after a collision with Marc Cucurella, and there were reports that Rice might have a broken toe. Mikel Arteta shared his concerns in an interview with Sky Sports, saying, "They don't look very good to me. I don't know if they are long-term injuries, but they couldn't finish the game." Both players are slated to join the England squad for Nations League matches in the coming days, which should provide more clarity on their physical condition. If they remain with the national team and participate as expected, it's likely they'll be ready to return to action for Arsenal. However, if Saka and Rice withdraw from the England squad, it might indicate more serious issues, potentially sidelining them for a longer period and giving Arsenal a significant challenge to manage. With the international break now underway, Arsenal is aiming to resume play with a fully fit squad, crucial for maintaining their Premier League title ambitions. The team's depth is being tested, and their ability to consistently perform at a high level is in question without key players. The potential absence of Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka just as Martin Odegaard returns is particularly frustrating for Mikel Arteta. However, there is optimism that both players could recover in time for a challenging stretch of fixtures. Arsenal faces a demanding schedule upon their return, with significant matches against Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Manchester United, and Fulham. These games will undoubtedly put pressure on Arteta to secure crucial points. Additionally, the Champions League presents its own set of challenges, especially with Sporting CP on the horizon, a team that could prove troublesome once again. Micah Richards highlights the one January transfer Arsenal desperately need after Chelsea draw. Even though Arsenal recently parted ways with Edu Gaspar, their plans for the January transfer window are expected to continue as usual under Mikel Arteta's direction. It's uncertain whether Arsenal will fully leverage the upcoming transfer window, but given their recent dip in form, the temptation to strengthen the squad could be strong. Looking ahead, 3 players might be on their way out of Arsenal in January. Such moves would not only free up some much-needed funds, but also make room for fresh talent to come in. While Edu and Arteta typically opted for a quieter January, the arrival of new decision-makers at Arsenal could lead to a different approach this time around, possibly advocating for more activity during the transfer window. With that in mind, when speaking on the Rest is Football podcast, Micah Richards pointed out the January transfer that Arsenal seriously need. Richards was reflecting on the one draw with Chelsea and felt as if a center forward, a poacher-type striker, would be perfect for Arteta to win these tight games. He said, "I think watching Arsenal now for the last 2 years where they could have gone and won the league, I really believe they need a striker now. I think Havertz has done exceptionally well in terms of holding the ball up, the runs that he makes, linking up play, technically very good, worked out. He's got all the attributes for what Arsenal want in terms of the way they want to press and the way they want to set up. But just sometimes, I think that they need a poacher. They need that striker's instinct at times where you can go missing for 80 minutes of the game, but in the vital moment, you just get that goal. I just think that's what Arsenal are missing." It's tough to dispute Richards' assessment. After 11 matches, Arsenal find themselves in 4th place in the Premier League, trailing behind the top 3 teams, not just in points, but also in goals scored. In the league, Kai Havertz has netted 4 goals in 11 matches, while Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli have each contributed 3 goals, although Arsenal has historically spread the scoring across the team, a strategy Arteta views as beneficial. It might prove advantageous to have a dedicated striker capable of clinching victories seemingly out of nowhere. This is something for Arteta and the Arsenal transfer team to consider, even though they seem more inclined to make significant moves in the summer rather than the upcoming January window. Wright questions £50 million player as he shares his one big worry about Arsenal right now. Heading into the international break, Mikel Arteta has termed the past 8 weeks at Arsenal as an absolute nightmare. Arteta is specifically referring to the barrage of injuries the team has faced since the last break in October, highlighting the loss of Martin Odegaard as particularly impactful. Without their principal playmaker, who also spearheads their pressing efforts, Arsenal has felt a significant gap. Odegaard's role at the Emirates Stadium has grown increasingly vital, making him central to Arsenal's hopes of contending for the Premier League title. His return and continued health will be crucial for the team's success moving forward. That being said, when speaking on the Wrighty's House podcast, Wright highlighted a worry trend he spotted at Arsenal when they've been in the lead of late, perhaps one that Odegaard's return can help with. And when discussing an example of Arsenal's worrying tendency to sit in and defend any lead they get, Wright also questioned Ben White's defending for Chelsea's equalizer. Wright said, "I'm just a little bit worried with that kind of dropping off. Even when I watch the game, I'm just thinking, we're just getting a bit deeper. Why don't we push up? Push up and keep them in there. I just feel like we're in a place where, okay, we've done it now. We're in the lead. Okay, let's defend because we are good at defending. Even if the goal, when you look at the goal, and I heard Mikel talking about, it was a second phase, and I'm sure he's going to lose his head about it because Declan and Thomas Partey was still on the edge of the box where when Neto picked the ball up coming off the right, Enzo just passed into a space, just a massive space. And with a player of that quality, given the opportunity to shoot clean like that, you're probably going to concede a goal. So again, we have to get back up to speed in the margins of what we're doing. Get it back. Ben White was way too far out on the right, so he should have pushed back inside, pushed Thomas Partey or Declan Rice across, so then there's somebody in that massive space when you see the goal. Ben White isn't offering the same attacking threat for Arsenal. Taking a closer look at Ben White's performances this season, it seems that the English defender has struggled to match the level he reached in the previous campaign. White seems to have lost some of his sharpness at Arsenal, particularly when it comes to contributing to the attack. It's become a rare sight to see the former Brighton and Hove Albion players successfully overlap with Bukayo Saka on the wing. White's form could be just one of several issues that Mikel Arteta needs to address at Arsenal currently. After 11 games, Arsenal find themselves in 4th place in the Premier League, trailing Liverpool by 9 points. This gap highlights the need for adjustments to regain their competitive edge. Well folks, those were the main news for today. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and until the next video.